All right, welcome to my FX Buddies, the podcast. This is going to be jam-packed because I only did a short yesterday. My schedule's a little different this week, and I don't handle change well, if you can imagine that. So I'm just out of sorts, but it's okay, right? Everything happens for a reason. All right, so the lot happened today. But I think even more is going to happen tomorrow, right? All right, so I just want to say thank you again to supporters. I will now be including PayPal in the links. But most importantly, there's a lot of articles today. I'm not going to get to all of them. However, you should see them. I did a lot of bolding. So in my eyes, that's the most important parts of the articles. And if you go to the blog, the free blog, you don't even have to put your email in. You just click the link that I provide and it takes you to this blog and the video's there and you can read along as it goes. So wherever you are listening or watching, look for a prompt of more info, intro, description, whatever, something of that nature, and click on it and another box opens or something drops down and the link is there. And then you click that and you go to the blog. And what else? Like, hit the thumbs up. That helps so much. You have no idea. And at 11 minutes and 11 seconds, icon's going to pop up in the bottom right. You just tap that and you can subscribe, but then I guess you have to hit a bell or something to get the notifications. But people who have done both tell me they still don't get the notifications. So what I suggest is late in the day or early in the morning, just go to my channel. It's Tish Wash. It's YouTube. Go to YouTube, search Tish Wash, just like my Cash App, lowercase, T as in Tom, I, S as in Sam, H, W-A-S-H, and then click that. And sometimes the most recent video's there, sometimes it's not. All right, so that was different, but that's how we're going to do that today, which is Wednesday, July 9th. But by the time this uploads, it may be July 10th. All right, so first and foremost, I want to go with this. I know this is going to cover the tariff thing. It's the House of Representatives is meeting Saturday. I will show you. Nowhere on there does it say they're going to touch anything about what we're waiting for. No oil and gas, no exchange rate, nothing. I'm guessing they're probably not even going to show up. But anyway, we'll get into that. And yeah, lots of articles. So let's get into it. And I say thank you. And this is one of those ones where the title's boring, the thumbnail is boring, but there's a lot of good information in here. So don't sleep. That's why I tell you guys, don't. If I put a video up, you should watch it. I know that sounds a little arrogant, but it's not always about the money, and I'm coming from me. Trust me, that's a lot. There's inner workings or back workings, as a matter of fact. I'm going to show you something about Sadar and Sadani. Little backroom messages they got going on. So yeah, it's, just keep that in mind. Okay? Especially for the regular listeners. I know new people, they're going to go to the sparkly and, hey, look here. But my faithfuls that listen, that fight to be the first comment, I know you guys listen. And I know some people listen just to hear my voice. I know. You don't give a rip what I'm saying. Thank you for you too. All right. Okay. So remember yesterday they said they were putting a 5 ministry committee together. Well, look, 48 hours. 48 hours. The report that changes everything. Oh, and an IMF warning. I think the most important thing we're going to talk about is what the IMF says. But, okay, so 48 hours until the government committee report is issued. So they had their meetings. Matter of fact, I was reading Kubat Talabani said there were 3 meetings alone in one day. And then they went back, the Kurds went back to Kurdistan and met some more. But so see here, they formed a committee headed by a minister, and here's the people who are in it. And the relationship between the governments of Baghdad and Erbil is witnessing a complex clash of disputes. While the two sides are trading accusations regarding the financial crises, more than 60 days have passed since the last salary received by an employee in the region after the suspension of money transfers from Baghdad. So points of disagreement. The Council of Ministers has been given 48 hours to submit its final report to the Council of Ministers regarding resolving the issues. The source explained there is a breakthrough in the crisis between Baghdad and Erbil, and several points of disagreement remain, but an agreement can be reached on them before next week. So that's why I'm saying this meeting Saturday, the House of Representatives, they're not going to talk about the budget. They're not going to talk about the oil and gas law. Plus, I'm going to show you the agenda, but they're still not going to have a formal link or formal report, formal outcome, whatever, that they're going to share publicly by this weekend. So it's not going to happen. And I know there's people out there saying that I guess they didn't translate it or whatever, but that's why you come here, because what? I show you the articles for yourself. So you don't have to just listen to someone and you hope they're saying things accurately, right? You can see for yourself. So here the points of agreement are, or disagreement, the region share. And then they talk about that. Domiciling the salaries, dispersing the salaries in federal banks, Rafadad and Rashid, or that system, and other stuff. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but this is important. There won't be forward movement until they get this resolved. Or Sudani's just going to have to put his foot down and say, okay, you guys couldn't agree. This is what I'm doing. And I believe, per the Constitution, he has the right to do that. The region has to fulfill, and it's saying they have fulfilled their obligations of oil delivery. And it says Baghdad is unwilling to pay them. So there's got to be something there, right? So, yep, it's putting financial pressure on the citizens. So you can read all of that. That is a very important article. This is a very important article. International warning to Iraq. An expert discusses the IMF report. You are to blame too. So let me show you the IMF. Oops, sorry. Oh, that's for later if we have time. You know how I always try to give you guys something fun to look at. Where's the IMF? Maybe it's over here. Yes, it's here. Come on, computer. Okay, so here is the IMF report. The IMF Executive Board concludes the 2025 Article 4 consultation with Iraq. So I think I'm going to point out, because you can probably see it better here. So they do this every year, and they have been for at least 16 years, if not longer. And they point out issues. And I highly recommend you read this. Highly recommend you read this. And of course, I'll have the link I'll show you where the link is. So Iraq's economy is facing considerable headwinds. Iraq's non-oil sector growth slowed from 13.8% in 2023 to an estimated 2.5% in 2024. I don't think so, but it's the IMF. Then their economy has vulnerabilities. So this is the IMF. They get together, they do like a week-long audit, basically, of the company's records. So, yeah. Finally, it is urgent to reform the public pension system by raising the retirement age and reducing both the accrual and replacement rates. That's the actuaries, right? Recent efforts to better target the public distribution system are welcome, but there is scope to further improve targeting and eventually shift to cash-based social safety nets. We don't like that. Okay, where's the part? Oh, yeah. So it won't be bolded on here. But on that article that I showed you, this is going to be bolded. Exchange rates. Here we go. Efforts to strengthen the domestic financial system should continue and accelerate. The CBI should be commended for the successful transition to the new trade finance system, now fully managed by commercial banks through their CBRs, which are those correspondent banks, the ones that go through Oliver Wyman and those other businesses, contributing to a reduction in the spread between the official and parallel market exchange rates. I don't recall. That's my foghorn leghorn. Anyway, sorry. You gotta keep this stuff interesting. I don't recall the IMF ever talking about that. It doesn't mean they didn't. But here they're saying there's been a reduction in, and we know there has been. And I was hoping this week that we would see it dip below 1400, but we haven't. But there's one place where there's still 1400. Most of the places are 1402.5, 1408. And if you're a first time listener to me, welcome. And I know I take some getting used to, but like I tell everyone, once you get used to me, you'll love me and you'll wonder where I've been all your life. Okay? So, it's still one more day. Tomorrow's Thursday, or today's Thursday. Hey, anything could happen, right? I'm not giving up. I don't give up on seeing the rate that I want to see until Friday. Oh, and let's see. This is interesting. Look at that, 1279.9. Usually about this time, it could be all the way back up to 1308. But it's 1279, so that's just, it's not much of a difference. But now this is Forex, okay? Let's see. Forex, right? You can't see the link because it's out of the camera. It's out of the camera, whatever. But so the IraqiDinar has been on Forex for years. You see how that just changed? Because this is live. This is a live chart a dear friend of mine made years ago, more than a decade ago. And yeah, it's just restricted. It's restricted on who can trade it. And trust me, it fluctuates. It fluctuates because people are trading it, right? Oh, and there was something here, I think. Look at this. So the neighbor, right? The neighbor's official calls on Ice Cream Land to take out the neighbor's president. Do you see that? He was interviewed. This is him, Pashishkian, and apparently Tucker Carlson got to interview him. That's what it says here. I don't. You guys know I don't watch our news, and I definitely don't watch Tucker Carlson. But yeah. So you see why Sudani has to be careful? They want to take out their own president, but because if you watch what he says, he's not a unalive America person, right? Unalive ice cream land. He's not one of those. He's like, you know what? We need to move forward. We need to get into the modernized world. That's what you brought me here for. So let's do it. And he admitted they've already tried to take him out once and he survived. All right, let's see. I think that's it. Yeah. So those are things that I just wasn't gonna show you. I wasn't gonna post, but I wanted to show you. All right. Oh, wait. This is a short version. Yeah. This is a short version of the letter or a different letter. Okay. So, oh, go away. Dang, we're already at 16 minutes. Okay. So July 9th, you know who that is. That's the U.S. president. And I guess those are the letters to the different countries. And you see that? They are letters. U.S. President announced on Wednesday the imposition of a 30% tariff on Iraqi products due to the trade deficit. In a letter to Sudani, Trump said, "My letter reflects the strength and commitment of our trade relationship, noting that the United States of America continues to engage in trade with the Great Iraq." He added, "We invite you to participate in the exceptional economy of the United States," adding, "We will impose a custom duty of only 30% on all Iraqi products exported to the U.S. due to the trade deficit." He continued, "The fees are necessary to correct customs and non-tariff policies, and we look forward to continuing to work with you as a trading partner for many years to come. The United States will never let you down." That's how he ended that. But I don't know, because look at all these words here. So, I don't know. But anyway, so some people say, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. The oil is exempt anyway, and that's mostly what we bring in from them. All right, let's see. That's not it. It's this one. Come on. Oh, come on. This is an old. Yeah, matter of fact, I can close that. CPI. What's here? No, nothing. Well, you know what? This. See here? So here's an economist. And he's saying the new tariffs will not directly affect or impact Iraq's economy. And I love that picture. The Basim Ra'ad, that's how I would say his name. He explained oil is considered a duty-free commodity. So once I read that, I was like, you know, that's not. The only thing this adds to is the tension between Sudani and our president, right? That's what I think. All right, so that was everything that is not posted, but I wanted you to see. All right, so now look at this. An international warning to Iraq. An expert discusses the IMF report. You are to blame too. So I just showed you the IMF report, and you could go there. So here's another economic expert. There's his name. He discusses the latest report, and they'll be discussing that probably 2 more days also, which included significant warnings to the Iraqi government regarding continued decline in revenues and blah, blah, blah. But here's the part. The experts' criticism of the IMF itself stems from the fact that the IMF itself is unaware of the Iraqi political and social context, right? We're not westernized like you. We do things our way, right? Which makes implementing the ready-made recipes it offers extremely difficult. Its proposals clash with the spread of the deep state's influence and its obstruction of tax reform aimed at increasing non-oil revenues, for example. The proposal to rationalize spending also clashes with the fragile social reality and the dependence of millions of Iraqis on government salaries amid a weak private sector and the expansion of the parallel economy. Now that's where I don't agree with him. It's not expanding. It's shrinking from everything that I can see. But so then you can go on and read that if you like stuff like that. But it's confusing for me because basically we are the IMF. We put the most money into it. So we have veto power, right? So we're the ones holding them up, but then we're also warning them, hey, why aren't you doing what we're telling you to do, right? So, and I showed you the article that specifically said our president is using leverage over Sudani to bring him to the West and pull away from their neighbor, China and Russia, right? So, yeah. Then just one more bit of this and we'll move on. Ultimately, Iraq's fiscal deficit and economic stagnation cannot be addressed without bold reform decisions, beginning with restructuring expenditures, freeing the economy from the grip of the rentier state, which is what will happen when they change their rate and they put all those laws in effect and all the investment starts coming in. Activating partnerships with the private sector, ensuring the independence of economic institutions, and building a truly productive base. And I forget what that phrase is. They used to use something else there, but they want a free market, like how we have a free market. They want that. And I can't remember that truly productive base. It means something else. So there's more. So he gives a good argument. Clearly, he studied that report, and he gives a good article and things that Iraq could do. Here again. Oh, this is the main part I wanted to show you. It says the IraqiDinar exchange rate is expected to stabilize at 1,300 dinars to the US dollar over the next 3 years, remaining largely unchanged. Foreign direct investment, however, remains virtually non-existent at 0% of GDP through 2026. So I'm taking that as it's already been stable for 3 years, especially at the end of this year. And the end of 2025, they are done with that tripartite budget. And I'm hoping they never do that again. I don't think it worked out well for them. So if you read that or if you hear someone talking about that, here I am, Negative Nelly. I'm saying don't worry about that. That 1300 that's on the CBI website, 1310 actually, but 1300 for the CBI, it's been there. And I think this is the 3rd year. But also, What if we are here for another year? What are you going to do with your life? Okay, so this link right here is the link that's going to go to the report on the IMF site. So then that way you could read it all for yourself. And you don't have to believe me or just, even though I showed you it. And see here, I bolded it. But yeah, and then there's a chart. All right, so we just have 5 minutes left. So as soon as all these articles came out, I was going to do a short. Not a short, but for me, short. Trump, Sudani, and Iraq's 30% tax, the hidden message. But then something told me to hold on and look at that. This is why I like that picture. Foreign trade barriers. Is that a real thing? Is that a real book? I bet you it is, right? So if you want to read that, but you can get that information anywhere. That's why I don't talk about stuff in our news, because you can get it anywhere. And here's the letter. Here's the copy of the letter. All right. Here's my one commercial. If you'd like to support any of these ways, buy me a coffee. That'll be a live link when this is no longer in preview mode. My Cash App, Tish Wash or $. Tish Wash, TISHWASH, and then my PayPal's there too. All right. Now, so this, I'm just going to read this title to you. In response to Sadani, Washington tells the news, Iraq is responsible for its own security and plays an important role in the region. So they're saying, yeah, we maintain a strong partnership based on shared interests, but do we really? I don't know. So you can read that. Here's 3 things. Here's another. Now this is an international economics professor, okay? And he says, oh, yeah, the US president just hit you hard. Here's 3 courses of action you can take. Here, local production that can compete in foreign markets. So they're working on that, right? Let's see. Swift action in 3 directions. First, direct diplomatic channel with Washington to clarify the negative impacts of the decision and work to either exempt certain goods, oil, reduce the percentage, or postpone implementation. I like that one. Postpone implementation. Second, okay, so there's second and there's third. You can read those, but we're running out of time. And here I wanted to show you this. The House of Representatives will hold its first session of the second legislative term Saturday, June 12th, and here is what they're going to talk about. Mental health, protection from the harms of tobacco, private hospitals. There, that's a long one. I don't want to say all of that. Compensating those affected who lost parts of their body as a result of things. Anywhere I go there, look, read. Do you see anything about HCL or rates or no? So the session begins at 1 o'clock. I'm guessing they're not going to have quorum. Here's the official notice. Oh, I left out a whole bunch of articles. Hold on. Right. Yeah. So here's another one. Sudani, I know it says that, but this is Sudani's measures are urgent. Oil is exempt as a reply to the tariff letter. So I don't think that letter has as big a bite as it seems. So let's, let that play out for a couple of days and see what happens. Here was Iraq's first response to the message about the increased taxes, tariffs, duties, whatever word you want to use. This is interesting. Nekrivan, or Nephew Barzani, discusses developing bilateral relations with the Venezuelan ambassador. What's this? Baghdad and Erbil discuss unifying procedures for the entries of goods and merchandise imported into Iraq. So if they were one country, this is a meeting that wouldn't need to happen, right? But they're talking about entry of goods like they're two different countries. If you exit out of Baghdad and into Kurdistan, you're now in a new country, right? That's, yeah. And losing privatization, this is a good article too. I mean, if I post an article, I think it's a good article. So, but yeah, so we're over. Here's the talking about the people in Kurds, why they're still protesting because they still haven't been paid. Here's another person's review and commentary on that report from the IMF. They say oil needs to be $84 for Iraq to even break even in 2026. But that's if they don't what? If they don't change their rate and they don't put those laws and make, you know, once all the foreign investment starts pouring in, what? It's going to be a total different outlook, right? But people like the IMF and people who are talking heads, they have to use the numbers they have right now, right? So here that's a quick little article. You could read that if you like. Some people will be interested in this. 5 transit flights successfully passed through Iraq under the TIR agreement. So they're really moving along with that port, and the port of Fa, part of that is almost done. So they're really doing a lot. Okay, so thank you. Accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals. Pay all your bills. This is for the people who don't like the extra stuff. Okay? And you're going to stop listening right now. For people who are interested in like Bible, archaeology, history, you might like the last thing I'm going to talk about. So, yeah. All right. So those people are gone. Look at this. Rare copy of Torah. Torah. I don't know how they, people say it different. Disappears in Iraq. Unfortunately, it's missing and they can't find it. But I hope they do. But yeah. So they've had this, they've thwarted numerous attempts to smuggle rare and ancient copies of the Torah out of the country. But someone was successful and they got it. How do you do that? How do you even not feel so guilty about stealing something that means so much to a lot of people, right? But it dates back to nearly 1,000 years. The department has launched a search for the missing manuscript, which mysteriously vanished during its transfer between several authorities for studies to determine its age and historical significance. Yeah, so that means someone who had clearance to look at that, right, probably took it. Yeah, but yeah, and that's Kirkuk. So I just wanted to share that with you. Plus, if you want to, I know some people that listen like that because you guys send me stuff. But I came across this one on my own. But yeah, okay, so I won't hold you too much longer. We'll get up out of here. Thank you for listening. And again, we'll see what happens tomorrow and through the weekend. I have been made aware of that ISO 222 thing. Someone told me about it early this morning. I think, but it has to do with FedNow, their wiring division. But I'm going to look more into that and maybe talk about that tomorrow or Friday if there's like not a lot of articles. about other things, then I'll talk about that. I don't like to talk on things that I haven't had time to research myself, So, yeah, look at that. I thought that was very interesting. And that's it. I already said my spiel. So thank you for all your support, your comments. It's really appreciated. And I will be here till the end. Okay? All right. So enjoy the rest of the morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you are indulging in this content. And until next time, which will probably be tomorrow.